Oh my goodness. Here we are on the 1 year anniversary of this podcast beginning. And when I was thinking about what I wanted to do for today's episode, I was like, what guest could I have on? Or do I want it to be a solo? It was a very quick, like, no-brainer duh that I wanted to invite Kelly Brock, my good friend, mentor, on the podcast for this to commemorate the 1 year anniversary. And she was the first guest ever on my show. And the reason for that is because she has been the person in my life who I wouldn't have done any of this without her. And we can get into some of it. But Kelly, I'm so happy to have you here. Welcome
I'm
back.
yay, I'm so happy to be here. And let me just say, I can't even believe it's been a year. Like, what a freaking year, just in general. But I want to say this before we even get started. There are some people who try to do podcasts, and then there are some people who are meant to do podcasts, and you were meant to do podcasts. Like, it, I remember recording with you last year and just being like, you feel like you've done this a million times. It's so effortless, it's so homey. Like, immediately it felt like we were sitting on a couch talking to each other, like talking to other women. It felt so natural. So like, you're in your superpower in this. So like, to be here again, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be good. Like, I'm happy about it.
Thank you, Kelly. That means a lot. Yeah, it's super special for me, and it's also special just the timing of this because we just got to see each other this
I
past
know,
weekend.
like 2 days ago.
There you
We
go.
got to hug each other in real life.
That was the best. I had, for those listening, taken a road trip down to Georgia with my husband Sebastian, three good friends. And on the way back, we passed through North Carolina where Kelly is. So we got to stop
Yeah.
and have brunch with her. And it took forever to get seated with her baby being so patient and all of the things. But I wanted to tell you, like, because that was your first time meeting Sebastian. And
Mm.
Kelly, I can count on one hand the number of times that my husband has deeply complimented another human being.
Oh, wow.
Lionel Messi is one, like you know, soccer player, right?
Yes.
Jake Kaufman was another, and then you. And
Wow.
he was like, she's just so cool. And I got a vibe from her that she's just so genuine and authentic. I'm
Mm.
like, yep, that's Kelly. And let me tell you, he's an Enneagram 4, like, so he can sniff inauthenticity from, the next state over. But he was like, there was just no ego there. She just is who she is. I felt zero agenda from her. I just felt love. And I just wanted to
Wow.
share that with you
That
because
means a lot.
yeah, honestly, hearing him say that, like thinking about it last night actually got me emotional. I started crying because I'm like, how the hell did I get so lucky to get
Mm.
Kelly Brock in my corner in my life and now so just deeply embedded in my heart? But I was kind of nervous for him to meet you in an excited way. I was like, I hope he loves Kelly as much as I do because if he doesn't, I don't know if him and I are going to resonate with each other too.
The
So
marriage crumbled because the friendship couldn't coexist
exactly. You
together.
can't get on board with Kelly Brock. I don't know if we're okay.
No, that means that honestly is like the highest compliment because, for anyone who doesn't know me, Becky and I came from a background of network marketing, and a part of who we became in that industry was putting on a persona and putting on uh, like a mask and a version of ourselves. And I remember, and still to this day, the highest compliment I can get is that someone say she really cared about me. Like, I felt that from her. She really cared about me. And I remember, I don't know, I feel it from you also. When we were at the, brunch the other day, we were talking about Enneagram. So if anybody doesn't know their Enneagram, it's really fascinating information. But we found out that Becky is a 9 and she's a peacemaker. And so you're always worried about, are people okay? Right? Like, does everyone feel okay? And similar, one of my favorite compliments someone can give me is that they felt important. I, in so many rooms, have walked in and it's like, you have to be someone to count. It's like, well, what about people who haven't achieved yet? Are we saying their gifts aren't good? Are we saying who they are doesn't matter? And I, from my past, have been around so many really ambitious, important, quotation marks, important people. And it's like, I just don't always believe the person who's the loudest or the shiniest is just the important person and everyone else isn't. And Sebastian, what I loved is he's like super shy. Like he really leaned back and was sitting there. And so I felt so curious about wanting to know him because it's like, okay, I know Becky. Now I want to know Becky's other half. Like, so that means a lot. It means a lot. Yeah. So thank you for sharing that with me.
You're so welcome. Yeah, it was so special all around. And for those who don't know you, who haven't met you, I'd love to, before we get into dismantling our marriage and business, just have you share a bit about who you are. And I'm also really curious to hear how you answer this right now in this particular season of your life.
Yeah, it's so cool. I hope if you listen to this episode, you go listen to the one from a year ago because, I have a saying that I'm kind of rolling with. I learned it about 2 years ago and it feels very true. And the saying is at this moment in time. I'm prefacing everything I say at this moment in time because so many versions of myself have changed, so many beliefs I've held have changed. And so at this moment in time, I am Kelly Brock. I am a new mama of my third baby, which I have longed for a really long time. I have spent the last 15 years investing in women and helping women to start businesses. It started with network marketing, and then it began in the online space about 4 years ago, where I really help women get in touch with their authentic gifts and how to position those in the marketplace. And in this last year, um, I started finding my dreams were changing, like all the mountaintops that I had wanted when it came to my online business and the things that I could do in leadership. I had kind of done them and I stopped feeling really alive around them. And the one dream that I had was a different marriage and a different home life. And I wanted to go back into mommyhood again. So, although I'm still doing my businesses and still running private islands and hosting retreats and doing amazing things, I've got like new ambitions leading in my life. And so I've had to dismantle some of the identities I clung to because right now, if you had asked me a year ago, I'm like, well, I'm a coach and I'm a mentor. And I had all these like name tags. And those name tags made me feel very important. And I felt really confident about who I was because I could cling to a title. And right now I feel very undefined. I feel extremely loose in like, who am I? And one of the things I said to Becky when we were sitting together, I felt so loved for just being Kelly because I'm very undefined right now. And it feels really good to just be me. And so that's kind of the space I'm in right now.
Yeah, you were like, I'm sure my ego's still alive, but it's like down
It's
on
like
the floor, like
it's
I
on the
can't even
floor.
reach it. It's gone.
Yeah.
I
Everything
love
I
it.
was doesn't live anymore. So who am I now? I don't know.
So good. It's so good. And I feel like you and I both know very well, probably more than we like imagined or initially set out to know, what it's like to completely and intentionally dissolve something that like we initially assumed would last forever into continual expansion, like forever and ever, amen. So for me, it was my marriage. We had to completely like demolition, right? Burn it down and build a new one was the only way that we were going to work. And you've recently done a similar thing in business, which I haven't even gotten to catch up with you that much on
Yeah.
the details. So I'm excited to hear what has been this recent transition with Kelly Brock Co. and what was the reason for bringing it down?
Yeah. Yeah. So context over the last 4 years, I walked away from a network marketing business and within my first 6 months had made six figures in the online space. And I started teaching women how to build their own business, to have personal peace, step into their purpose, and have profit. And over the last 4 years, we've I've made millions of dollars. I rented a private island twice. Like I've done these really cool, momentous things. And I started to build a business with the team and getting ready for the book. And we've got the podcast. And I started doing all these things that live in this online space. And what I started to find was my body started burning down again. And I've had a body burnout before. When I started falling out of love with my network marketing business, my body got sick. And because I'm someone who will cling so hard to identity that my body has to stop me. It's like, hey, you're not supposed to want this anymore. You're not supposed to be here anymore. You're supposed to change. And I cling to it. I'm like, I joke that this last year I felt like my theme song was Miley Cyrus. I came in like a wrecking ball. Cause it was just like, I'm holding on to the wrecking ball. Like, no, no, it's supposed to work. But my business that I had grown stopped feeling good for me. And the way that I know it stopped feeling good is everything started feeling like obligation energy. I have to. I have to record podcasts. I have to create content. I have to launch this program. I have to pay these people salaries. I have to do this business. And that energy, if you can even hear me, I've changed by saying that. I I feel small, I feel contracted, I feel annoyed, I feel overwhelmed. And I felt that I had built a business that did not give me the freedom anymore to make some choices that I wanted to make because I was just kind of changing. And the truth is, it's kind of marriage and business happened at the same time because let me backtrack just a little bit. 2 years ago, I was in a course called the Dreams Course by my friend Svetlana. And in this course, you have to get absolutely crystal clear with what your heart's desires are from a pure place. Like, if you really wanted anything, what would it look like? Well, I've been married for almost 13 years, and I have been a high achieving, breadwinning woman for all of those years of marriage. And 2 years ago, I got really clear. I actually want to be more feminine. I actually want to be a little bit more in the receiving role. I actually want my husband to provide for me. I actually think I want to lean back and nurture a little bit more. I think I want a little less pressure on my shoulders to have to be the one that all of our dreams come through right now financially. And so that felt really cute to put on paper. It's like, oh, I just want to lean back. I want to like be feminine and I want to receive. And Josh, at the same time, was in this course with me. He had started growing personally and was in this dreams course, and he wrote down his dreams. And he was like, yeah, we both were like, that sounds cool. You be the man, you like be masculine. And like, so we thought it was really cute for us to dream about how money would start to come through him and how he would really lead in our home. He would be a leader. What I didn't realize was that was going to be the death of Kelly that I knew and the death of Josh that we knew. And we were going to go through the hardest 2 years of our marriage, period, end of story, have been the last 2 years because we had to stop by default being these versions of ourselves that we had been. And that felt very scary. That felt very unsafe. There was lots of challenges that came with that. But I meant what I said when I wrote those dreams down. I was like, if I could have it anyway, this is who we would be with each other. I would feel provided for. I would feel safe with him. He would hold me. I could lean back. I could choose in business what I want to do, not from a place of I need to provide, but from a place of these are my gifts in the world. And so from those dreams being defined, shit hit the fan and things started changing. And it has led me into what has been the demolition of my life over this last year and a half, 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah,
First of all, I just want to say the fact that Josh Brock was in a dreams
I
course.
know.
If anyone knew the background and you were telling us all the story of at brunch of just he was a man's man from day one,
Mhm.
and like never would he be found in a dream.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Josh used to joke, like he would say, like, do you see these stupid sayings, like these motivational quotes? And he's like, if you think it, you can achieve it. And I'm like, he would make fun of people who hired coaches. And I'm like, do you know what I do for a living? Like, this is literally what I do, babe. But he just thought anyone who went towards personal growth they were weak people. He's like, if you can't push yourself to like do what you need to do. But he had his own awakening and really realized, whoa, the way I've seen the world isn't necessarily how the world is. And that shattered his belief. And he started to say, maybe I could listen to some of these other guys. Maybe I could listen to some of these people who seem to be successful. And so we ended up that was our first course together that we were ever in. And we started just defining our dreams. And yeah, it was a huge thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Pinch me moment of, yeah, this
Yeah.
is something I ever imagined becoming a reality. So I want to get real with the business stuff because I know at this
Yeah.
point people probably have questions and are probably like wondering, okay, how are you living? You were the breadwinner, so right, Josh now is providing for
Yep.
you. Dream come true.
Yeah. Yeah. But not the way that I thought it. Like this is what's so funny is like I thought the dreams were going to come in a dreamy way,
Hmm.
but dreams manifest in the way that they need to. And that has not you have so many women, Becky, who are listening to this podcast and they are dreaming of a restored marriage and they're dreaming of a healed partnership and they're dreaming of being a husband and a wife or being a confident woman. And the path towards that dream is not always dreamy. It is the getting rid of all the stuff that's in the way of that beautiful partnership. And so for me, I just want to say, I like want to make that very real that sometimes who you've been has to kind of end and you've got to become the new person who gets to hold that dream. And so for me, even in business, I think I'm prone to find the gurus, right? Like, let me just hire the guru and they'll show me the blueprint and they will like help me be successful. And as I started growing this business, I started looking to other mentors to say, okay, well, what does the next level look like? And what do I need to do? And ultimately, I built a business where energetically I had to show up every single day. I had 4 employees. I had 4 family members. I had myself. We had 2 cars. We had a 4,000 square foot home. I had all these things that relied on Kelly being shiny.
Hmm.
Cool, Kel. So we're going to need you to keep having ideas and keep creating content and keep marketing the programs and keep signing the clients and keep doing the things because everyone needs to get paid. Everyone needs to eat. It's funny. My coach said to me one time, she was like, Kelly, everyone's sucking on your teat. And I was like, oh shit. She was like, everyone's sucking on your teat. And I was like, I feel that. What happened was I was trying to build a business that ran without me because that was the dream. It's like I want peace and I want to be able to like do my purposeful work. But what I built was a business model that no one could survive without me, unfortunately. And I thought, oh, I'll hire the next person. I hired a marketing person, I hired a social media person, and I had a head coach, and I had a business manager, and I had all these things. And those models work for some people. It ended up not working for me, but I was trying so hard to ultimately have a maternity leave to just be able to like let this thing run without me because that's what everybody sells, like build this thing and it will run without you. Unfortunately, I still don't have answers why, but it wasn't working without me. If I didn't touch it, it didn't work.
Mhm.
And so I felt more pressure to provide and more pressure to do and more pressure to be. And I just was like, this is not even the life that I want. Because if you ask me about the life that I want, Becky, I'm like kind of dabbling with the idea of homeschooling my kids. And I'm kind of sick of social media and how I've shown up. And so all of a sudden, I'm like, I've built a business that is requiring me to create content on the reg. And I
Mm.
don't like it. If you guys know me, like, I really don't create a ton of content. My leadership does not happen from me being someone who shows up 2 to 3 times a day online. It's not the way that I work. Yet I was trying
Mhm.
because that's what I thought I had to do to keep producing. And so I, maybe 6 months ago, realized I need to pull the plug. I keep trying to patchwork this thing. I keep trying to band-aid it. And so in the fall of 2023, I just said, I felt like, Becky, I was rowing in a boat, carrying my entire team, my family, everybody, and I'm rowing as fast as I can, also trying to like get water out of a sinking ship. And finally, it was like I heard my inner wisdom, God, and who was just like, just stop rowing. Like, why do you keep trying to row faster and save this ship? Just stop rowing. Then you can figure out where to go and what to do and how to fix this. And so I ended up letting my entire team go. Um, Team that's been with me for 4 years. I shut down the doors to my business for my maternity leave and just said, I need a pause. I need a pause long enough that I can do my business not from a place of reactivity anymore, but from responsibility. From, hey, this is who I am now, and this is what I really want. And so I'm actually, you and I are talking at my 12-week mark. This is my maternity leave has just like kind of expired in my mind. I was like, I want 12 weeks like all these other mommies get, because if you're an entrepreneur, like it's a sweet deal in some ways, but it's also like there's a lot on you. So even with my two other pregnancies and births, I had team members and customers and all these things I had to answer to. And I was like, I really want to experience what it's like to owe nobody nothing.
Mhm.
Like I want out. I just want out. I want a break.
Mhm.
And so this is me starting to step back into the energy of saying, okay, what do I want now? I really got a break. And so I literally shut down the doors to my business and have not done anything for 3 months. And it's been wild.
That's amazing, Kelly. I read a book and I forget the title now, but it was basically saying that we as humans are designed to go at a camel's pace, but we're going at rocket ship speed. And you and
Mm,
I both know the hustle and the building and the pressure and the frenzied energy that, ends up sucking the life out of us. Uh, but I also just think it's so interesting that when we look at the world we're in general, world at large, but then also this world of building a business, it feels like the most modern day act of rebellion to just pause and do what you're doing
yeah.
and like shut it down. And I just imagine everyone who knows you, who's watched you build this, yeah, $1 million company. You're Kelly Brock, who has the whole team and 100K months. And for you
Hmm.
to just be like, all right, we're closing up shop. And it's not from a quitting perspective or
Yeah.
energy. It's
Right.
from a very intentional, like, this is what I'm being led to do. And I'm doing this on purpose.
Yeah.
Um, and I just imagine the collective gasping, like, oh, she's doing what?
Yes.
And it's completely illogical, but that's something you taught me is that's often intuition. Intuition is
Mm,
illogical, but it's this deep, deep, deep knowing that this is the right next step.
yep.
And I love what you said that dreams don't always come in a dreamy way. I just love that. I think it's so true and relatable to
Yeah.
whatever dreams have, that people are listening, whatever dreams are on their heart. And I can also relate to you saying I kept trying to patchwork it and trying to band-aid it. And it felt like I was rowing a boat so fast and there were holes in it. And God was just like, stop. And just to speak to the marriage piece, like that, everything you just said, I'm like nodding, nodding, nodding. That was my experience in my marriage, where it was like I was rowing a boat so fast. I was trying every mainstream modality of healing I could get my hands on, getting help from here and there, and reading this book and that podcast. And finally, it just reached its head where there was a big rupture in our marriage. And it felt like in that moment, I got this quiet whisper that I didn't want to hear from God, just saying, like, just stop. This is time to stop trying to fix it, to make it work. Like, you need a pause. That doesn't mean it's gone forever. But I was terrified that that's what a pause would mean. I was so
Yeah.
afraid that dismantling meant burying it when that's not always the case. Sometimes
That
dismantling is exactly what you need in order to build what your actual aligned, authentic dream is. And so
can
that
can we say that though? That's so important because as humans, we are meaning making machines. And so we really hate uncertainty. We don't like the space of uncertainty. So in your marriage, you said we need a pause. And what you want to do, even just from a place of feeling safe, you go, well, does this mean we're together or not?
Yep.
Is it yes or no? And what your intuition was saying, we don't have that answer yet, right? In business, people have been like, so like, are you done? Like, are you done coaching? Are you done leading? I was like, I just paused. And even inside of me, I wanted to answer. I was just like, it's funny because I've even like made posts about like, I'm not sure how I feel about social media. And so people are like, well, are you leaving? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't have that clarity yet. So I'm not saying I'm out. I'm not saying I'm in. I'm just saying what I know to be true at this moment in time is this isn't feeling right for me. At what I know at this moment in time in my marriage is we needed a little space, right? That's what you're saying, right? Or what I know is the way we've been doing it isn't working. And I want to encourage so many women that what you know now can be just enough. You can just say, I don't want that. And that is all the clarity I've been given. You know, I have a prayer. I'm someone who's very spiritual. It is my lifeline. I believe we are spirits in a human body and we're here for a reason and we're here to grow and expand. And I also believe that, the divine God does not give us the whole blueprint, does not give us all the puzzle pieces at once for a reason. And so my prayer is usually like, God, reveal to me what's available for me to understand about my marriage at this moment in time. Like, give me what you want to know, what I'm able to understand and cling to as clarity. But there is divine timing in when certain things happen and certain, revelations happen. And if you had not taken that pause, Becky, in your marriage to just say, I don't know, we just need space for a couple months, or like you didn't even know how long that space was going to be. You're like, I just know we need space. And then the next day, I still know we need space. And then the next day, I still know we need space. I still know, until all of a sudden you go, I think there's a coming back together energy. But as humans, we freak out not knowing how long will this last? Who am I now? We want to be labeled. And I have been experiencing that in my own life. Truthfully, it's like, well, who am I if I'm not Kelly, who's selling these courses? Who am I if I'm not hosting these retreats? Who am I if I'm not successful? Like right now, I didn't have $100,000 month this month. I can't speak to that. Am I still enough? Am I still worthy? Am I still okay? Will people still want me? Am I still valuable? All of those questions have come up, but I've not been given a go light of what to create and what to do next. So I'm still staying in my pause.
Mm.
And that can be really hard because we don't know what to do with that. So I just wanted to really speak to that because I think I'll tell you what, I am one of the most courageous people I know. And I mean that in like the messiest, bravest way, because I can't live with myself if I'm not aligned. And as soon as I really get a sniff and a whiff of like, oh gosh, I've gotten off path somewhere, my soul won't let me stay. It's like I have to cut it all off so that I can come back together. And that has happened in my business right now. And what I know to be true is like, I will lead again. I will have clarity again. But at this moment in time, I've got to be true to who I am right now because I'm the one who has to rest my head on the pillow at night and
Mhm.
be with myself. And I have to feel as good as possible about being in sync with her,
Mm.
my inner me. That's my job, no one else's.
That phrase, like at this moment in time, that's where the anxiety comes. Like you were saying, when we're trying to figure out the future and what it's going to look like, we take ourselves away from the present. We leave the present, we leave ourselves, we leave our body constantly trying to make meaning, which you said is a natural human thing. And I find that with so many of my clients with the indecision, right? Of should I stay or should I go? And if we are separated, what's the future going to hold? And that exact energy is actually what backfires and keeps us from giving this organism, whether it's a relationship or a business, the chance to breathe again. All we know is at this moment in time, this has not worked and this isn't going to work anymore. I got to the point where I'm like, this version of our marriage, that we have to end this. That's all I know to be true right now. Maybe we
Yeah.
can create a new one, but the only clarity I have is this is not working anymore. It's suffocating, it's toxic, it's unhealthy, it's harmful. And so that's what I heard you saying, right? With
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
what you did, there was that clarity of right now, at this moment in time, this version that I've been doing business in isn't working for me anymore. And
Yeah.
so I'm excited to see what's coming. I do see it as very brave and courageous because we're also pack animals and we all want
Mhm.
love and belonging. And you are going against the grain of what, is a fast injection of love and belonging, is
Oh,
showing up
I,
as shiny and accomplished.
Becky, listen, if I can be totally honest, I, I'm really considering writing a blog and the subject line being I haven't gotten high in a while because literally that's what I want to write because you guys, there is a high that comes from identity. There's a high that comes from being important. There's a high from being known. There's a high from being missed. There's a high from being whatever. I have taken myself out of my arena of of getting the hit. I, what's so interesting is to live with yourself without the rushes that come from success and who we are and am I important, all this stuff. It's just like luckily I've got a little bit of a baby high because I get to like the love on
Yeah.
her, but it has been, you are so right, there's an injection. And I think this is also happens in relationships. People don't know what to do with this person who's there when they're not getting the rush of like the excitement anymore of like this person's eh, you know inspiring me or exciting me. It's like, oh, you're just another human. It's like Josh and I over the last 2 years, it was like, this was not our juiciest, sexiest, fastest, and most amazing season. It was like, am I going to choose you when I don't even want you right now?
Yeah.
Like, are we still committed? Can I be with myself when I am not feeling very shiny in the world with other people? I have plucked myself out of all the sexy, spark and stimulation, and I've just been being with myself and learning to live at such an unstimulated
Mm.
pace because I'm not even spending that much time online. Like I show up here and there and I'm like, hi, here's my baby. And then, okay, I'll be gone for a couple days. And, you know, it, it has been really fascinating to witness myself struggle and really crave a hit. I
Mm-hmm.
want a little dopamine. I want someone to miss me. I want a little spark and to not have that constant stimuli. Um, Man, it has been like, huh, you really are addicted. This is fascinating.
You really need to write that. It's been a long time since I've gotten high.
Gotten high.
I'm the queen of one-liner hooks. So as long as you gripe about social media and content, right? You're good at it though.
Yep.
I think it's interesting, I know we have to land this plane in a minute, but I just want to say it's the thing that we both feared so much, right? The business collapsing or the marriage collapsing. But when we got to a point where we made this intuitive, intentional decision to put it on pause, not having to know all the final answers, I don't know about you, but it wasn't easy, but it felt like a piece that I didn't have before when I was just like trying to avoid this worst case scenario of us being separated. When we finally got into that place, I felt like a peace and a relief and a like this at least feels aligned right now. Like I'm not trying
Mm,
to force something that's not working. And I I think that's really what peace is. Peace comes from following our intuition. It doesn't
hmm.
come from a certain external situation. So
Yeah.
I'm curious, just for those listening that are resonating, with all of this, if you have any practical advice, guidance coming to mind of where people can begin or lean into if this is, relatable to them.
100%. So I have, because I have no clear vision of the future, which is tough. Like, that's tough to not feel the sense of confidence that comes from knowing where you're going.
Yeah.
And even in this moment, it's not like, oh, I know what I'm doing now and I know why this pause happened. I'm still in it. I
Mhm.
still don't have the clarity. And so, because of that, I have been forced to live in the present and to really say, how can today be enough? Because I already admitted I'm done with the past. So I'm not going to spend energy there. The future is very uncertain, so I can't spend energy there. I've had to learn to be very present. And so for me, here's what that looks like. I go back to what I call my peace practices. Every single day, I'm not so good at journaling them right now, but I do them while I'm nursing. So you can do them by devotion in your mind or write them down. I really recommend writing. I write down these 10 affirmations of the woman I want to be every single day. I'm an intentional and exceptional wife. I'm an intentional and exceptional mother. I am a spirit led woman, and the fruits of Him are evident on my life. Like you can hear that I know them by mantra now. And so I really say those or write those every single day. And then I ask the question, and how will I show up as her today? And that's my only goal is let me be an expression of the woman I want to be to the best of my ability just today. And when I make choices and do that, I find myself going to sleep feeling what I crave, which is fulfillment, peace. I was her. So like even right now, it's like, do I want to do a podcast? It's like having a conversation with Becky. Absolutely. Because one of my affirmations is that my personal empowerment would be empowering to other women, would inspire them to be empowered. So this makes sense. I should do this today. And so when you're living moment by moment and at this moment in time, all you can do is be aligned as this version of you today. And that energy will drive the choices you need to make. It will drive the feelings you want to feel. And I'm finding my vision is like headlights on a car. It's like I'm taking one more step and I can see a little bit further now. And so I kind of know, okay, what the next step I might take, but I still don't see the whole path. And so if someone is in their marriage or in their business and going, man, I don't know what it is that I want, but I know it's not this, you make a choice based on what you know at this moment in time. And so that's what I'm clinging to is just joy, just fulfillment, just alignment for today. And that has kept me hopeful in this space where today just has to be all I've got.
All of that is so profound and practical. And Kelly, I know you're in hiding right now, but I know there's one way at least that people can find you and be with you and be in your presence, no pun intended. So can you just share with people what you definitely do have coming up?
Yeah. So in June 8th through the 12th, I will be co-hosting an incredible summit on the island that changed my life. It's called Ariel BVI, owned by an amazing 35-year-old woman who is changing the world and getting women into their purpose, humans into their purpose, but we're hosting a women's retreat. We're finding so many women are holding all these roles, they're holding all these tabs open all the time. And it's not that we don't want all these roles that we play, it just starts to feel really heavy and it can feel really noisy. And so we're hosting a summit called Presence, which is all about coming back to rejuvenation, restoration, recentering of your mind, body, spirit. There's going to be, at this retreat, it's going to be some silence. There's going to be some healing. There's going to be some introspection and self-discovery. But it's going to be absolutely incredible. So if, you're in a place of saying, I need just a minute to like get away from the noise, get away from my life, shut down all the tabs for a minute and hear my heart, hear my center, and to kind of restore again. Presence would be that summit and that experience for you. So you can go home feeling fulfilled and clear and to be able to show up for all the roles that we play. So
Mm.
I'm excited to get to honestly be holding such a level of presence in my own life and get to help other women walk through that for
Yeah,
themselves.
perfect timing for you to be co-facilitating this because this is
Yeah,
like the most present you have been in a really long time, maybe ever. Because even when you
ever.
did heal the anxious achiever and step into presence, you were still working.
Mhm.
So this is perfectly timed. And I just want to say, guys, if you're listening and you're leaning in, I remember the first time Kelly ever and I connected. I was really leaning into her program at the time, but I didn't have the money for it on paper. And I remember talking to Kelly, and that was her first initial training sessions with me on how to manifest something that I don't currently have, but want to bring into my life and my field. And so for days and weeks, I don't remember how long it was. Every time I saw her, Instagram pop up on my feed, I'd say, I'm coming, I'm coming, I'm coming. I just kept affirming it. And I did some deep internal digging on me being worthy for a program like that at the time. Sometimes things like this, invitations to retreats, can trigger the unworthiness wound. We think, who am I to, invest in myself on that level and take time away from people? And it really just boils down to doing some deeper work of, hey, I actually can be a match for something like that beyond my wildest dreams. So I'm using all those original tools, Kelly, for this retreat as well. I'm saying, I'm coming, I'm coming, I'm coming. And I wanted to tell you before we hop off, I was talking to Sebastian because originally the dates conflicted with the retreat that he was going to do, but we found out that they don't, that there's only like 1 day overlap. So I was like, so
Mhm.
grateful. So we
See,
only need
thank you,
we got
God. Thank you, God. That's just what you said. Thank you,
exactly.
God. Thank you, God.
Yeah. I was like, maybe God changed the days of the retreat because I swear when I first looked at them, they overlapped and it wasn't going to work. I'm like, wait, no way. It's only a 1 day overlap that we would need babysitting. So I'm going to continue to affirm I'm coming. So I hope those
Yes.
listening will come with us.
I
And
was going to say, look, you're even speaking it out loud on a recorded living podcast. Like that's the kind of energy you want to work with. I mean, listen, I'm in my own messy middle, but there are times when we know we see something and it feels so expansive, we long for it. We yearn for it. We're like, I want to be there. I want to be that woman. I want to have this relationship. And sometimes we feel so far from it, it feels scary to even admit. I want that. I want to be there. And what I know about, manifesting, meaning making dreams come true, is it works on the level of certainty. Like I'm telling you, even down to like Josh and I in our marriage in the last couple of years, it shifting and being challenging in the middle. I have been holding the belief in the void that it is becoming exactly what I asked for because my heart wants that thing, not my ego. My heart, my soul is yearning for that. And so when our yearnings come from a pure place, then what I believe is I go, well, then that was from you, God. That was from you. So then you take care of the details. I'm going to keep affirming that it's mine. I'm going to keep believing from the level of certainty it's mine. And I watched you do that, Becky. And all of a sudden it was like, I just manifested clients and money and all these things to do this thing. And you want to know what's funny? God sometimes works and provides in ways that don't come financially. It comes just through opportunities or people or whatever. But it's just like, I don't know, even in the disruption of things falling apart, please don't stop dreaming. I really hope that I leave that with your clients. Please don't stop longing honestly for the things that you want the most, because whether they change shape in spouses or they change shape in business, like your soul wants something because it wants to express itself through you. And, I'm someone who, even in the hard, I can't help it. I'm still hopeful. And
Mm.
I hope your clients can be too. So come
I
join us at Presence.
love that so much. Kelly, thank you for coming on a whole year later. This is beyond special. And just thank you for everything you've deposited into my life and what this conversation will deposit into so many others. So I love you. Go
Mhm.
hug and snuggle your baby now. Tell her I said hi, and we'll chat
I
soon.
will. I will. Thanks,
Bye,
friend.
friend.